Count on LEX 18 News.
Coming up, Lexington firefighters find a body at the scene of a garage fire, and now police want to know if it's a homicide, suicide, or an accident.
Officials say the Scott County man who killed a family of 5 in a fiery wrong-way interstate crash was definitely too drunk to drive.
And 25 years later, we look back at the blizzard that had Kentuckians digging out for days. LEX 18 News at 6 starts now. Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Nancy Cox. Thank you for joining us at 6. Was it more than a fire?
There are a lot of questions after a body was found in a burning garage. Now, the scene is at a home on Radcliffe Road near Russell Cave, just outside New Circle in the Winburn neighborhood on the north side. Kylan Mills is live with the latest developments in tonight's big story at 6. Kylan.
Good evening, Kevin, Nancy. Well, within the last hour, the coroner and most of the fire and police crews who are out here have left the area, and also the road has reopened on Radcliffe Road. However, you can see the home behind me where this happened still blocked off by crime scene tape, and we do have an officer out here keeping an eye on things. Now, what exactly happened here is a mystery that all 3 agencies are now working to solve. Neighbors watch a bizarre and tragic situation unfold from behind crime scene tape on Radcliffe Road.
Devastating, very devastating.
Nikita Chenault says she went outside after smelling smoke around 2 o'clock this afternoon. She watched fire trucks come racing through her neighborhood.
What in the world is going on? And, you know, then I heard them trying to beat the door down, so and I'm like, I pray nobody is in there. And then I seen them bring stuff out on fire, and I was like, oh my God.
But what started as a fire call quickly unraveled into a much more complicated investigation. Fire officials tell us they found separate fires in the house and in a detached garage. A person was found dead in the garage too.
Right now, we're not really calling it accidental homicide, suicide, you know, because it could be that as well. Who knows?
The coroner, fire investigators, and even the police department's robbery and homicide unit are all putting their heads together in what they call an unusual case, with many unanswered questions. Now neighbors are looking for answers too.
Never. We haven't had nothing like this on this street. You know, in this area, right here where I live at, nothing. No, man, that's shocking.
So far, the coroner has not released any information about the person who died here. We're told a death investigation is open. And I just spoke to fire officials who tell me so far no major updates on this investigation. They say they are looking into multiple possibilities. We're covering the news live in Lexington from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom. We'll send it back to you.
We've learned Joey Bailey, who caused a crash on I75 that killed a family of 5 from Michigan, was definitely driving drunk.
The Fayette County coroner has released the blood alcohol level for Bailey, a man from Georgetown who police say was driving southbound in the northbound lanes. LEX 18's Mike Valenti has the latest.
Toxicology results reveal 41-year-old Joey Bailey had a blood alcohol level of 0.306 when he died. That's nearly 4 times over the legal limit to drive.
I haven't seen an alcohol level like this for several years. So it's just, you know, it's horrible that the decision of this individual, being under the influence of alcohol, made the decision to drive.
That decision cost the lives of the Abbas family. They were driving home to Michigan after a vacation in Florida. The Dearborn community shattered by the news. Thousands paid their respects last week at a visitation at an Islamic center, mourning a family admired by so many.
I don't remember the last time we were hit with a tragedy like this. You know, it's very, I am really saddened today.
Surveillance video obtained by LEX 18 appears to show Bailey's truck going the wrong way on an I-75 ramp off North Broadway. Garrigan tells us Bailey had been drinking alcohol at 2 places in Lexington in the hours leading up to the crash. Covering the news in Lexington, Mike Valenti, LEX 18 News.
Now, Mr. Ginn declined to name those places where Bailey had been drinking. We're expecting to learn those answers, though, in a final report from the Collision Reconstruction Unit, which could be released as soon as next week. A Knox County man is dead after being shot as he tried to run from the scene of an armed robbery at a convenience store.
Now police are looking for his killer, who's been on the run since shortly after midnight. Michael Burke has our story.
When it happens in a small town like this, everyone feels it.
It's pretty hard to hear when, you know, a local boy, we all growed up together around here.
Gary Medlin was taken from the Barberville community in Knox County after being shot in the back as he was attempting to leave the scene of an armed robbery. It happened here at the A&B Quick Stop on US 25E. He died at the scene just after midnight. Now police are looking for this man, who was caught on camera walking into the store with a gun.
For him to be shot and killed is just a very sad situation, and we want to make sure that we find this individual and place him in custody as quickly as possible.
Won't be soon enough for Jane Rose, who once worked with Mr. Medlin.
He was just a good, fun-loving kid. He was just a kid. You know, he's just a young boy, you know, living the dream.
A dream that included 2 young children at home who are now without their father.
Exactly. That's what makes it so sad.
And members of this community now left looking over their shoulders.
Who knows who's next? You know, you're just innocent in the store there. You know, any of us could be next.
But for now, they'll try to keep the focus on the one who was last.
It's hard on the county, you know, because thinking that was a member of our society.
Covering the news in Knox County, Michael Burke, LEX 18 News.
Now, police say that person was wearing a gray hoodie, black pants, and tan boots, and he is considered to be armed and dangerous. We're learning more about the specific allegations against a current state lawmaker and former House Speaker.
Current Representative Jeff Hoover was one of 4 Republicans to sign off on a $110,000 sexual harassment settlement, but the victim's story was unknown until now.
LEX 18's Conroy DeLuce sat down with a Lexington representative who hopes a new bill proposal will lead to a change of culture in Frankfort.
In testimony given under oath in October 2018, a former staffer accused current Representative Jeff Hoover of sexually assaulting her more than 50 times. She called it nearly daily touching and says that she felt powerless to stop him. That is all according to a report released by the Kentucky Center for Investigative Reporting.
It's time for the people of Kentucky to see legislators hold ourselves accountable to this egregious behavior represented today in the most recent reporting, but been going on now for too many years.
Representative Kelly Flood, a Democrat, says that she has witnessed sexual harassment firsthand and that it's a cultural issue in Frankfort concerning both Republicans and Democrats.
And our ethics laws that oversee our behavior as legislators currently still doesn't include sexual harassment as being ethically inappropriate behavior at work.
That's why she's proposing House Bill 83, which would make this behavior unethical, take policing out of lawmakers' hands, ensure investigations are done within 30 days, and that lawmakers would foot the bill, not taxpayers.
These are ways we make sure that the whole system supports getting at the truth quickly, fairly, and then settling it in a way that creates a safer work environment.
Covering the news in Frankfort, Conroy DeLuce, LEX 18 News.
We contacted the offices of both representatives accused of sexual misconduct in the report, Jeff Hoover and Michael Meredith, but neither has responded at this time. The Republican and Democratic parties of Kentucky have released statements reacting to the report, and you can read their responses on lex18.com. Kentucky's Lieutenant Governor says if Governor Bevin is interested, she's willing to run alongside him again. Jenean Hampton told the Bowling Green Daily News she thinks the governor would be a shoo-in to win. Bevin has said he will run again in November, but has not named a running mate. Hampton made history when she became Kentucky's first African-American woman elected to statewide office in 2015.
And what a day. Clouds and drizzle and sprinkles. Anything's good with sprinkles, isn't it? So with that in mind, the Max Track Live out there may be 1 or 2 patches of those running around, but nothing big at this point. We're going to save that for tomorrow. Looking here at 7 o'clock, and again, mainly just clouds. There could be a little patch of drizzle around. Everything's above freezing at this point, so whatever falls is liquid. That may change, though, tomorrow morning, especially headed up towards Cincinnati. May clip some of our northern counties. A little bit of a mix. Little light snow is a possibility at the onset, but as we continue through the day, it all changes to rain. And that rain is with us then through the afternoon hours, ending as we get into tomorrow night. Temperatures are going to stay cool. We're sitting in the mid-30s now. We'll drop to about freezing or so later on tonight. And temperatures tomorrow actually are going to approach normal. We're looking at a day where you do have rain around. And I think we're going to be just a hair above freezing. So most everything is liquid. 40 at lunch, low 40s to finish the day. Then there's the weekend. We'll talk about that in a minute.
All right, Bill, we'll see you then.
Well, 25 years ago today, Lexington was bracing for a snowstorm that ended up shutting down the city for days.
The blizzard of '94 had such an impact on the city, it changed how we respond to a storm of that magnitude today. Catherine Collins reports.
More than 10 inches of snow, made worse by a sheet of ice underneath. Roads were impassable, the interstates were shut down, people were stranded. It was the blizzard of 1994.
It was very dangerous and cold. I remember how cold it was, too.
25 years later, Mark Johnson remembers driving with a white knuckle grip.
It took 3 or 4 hours just to get to work and stuff, and you were crawling at 10 to 15, 20 miles an hour.
LEX 18's Nancy Cox recalls covering the story round the clock as the crisis went on for days.
First big event in my career where we just had all-day coverage if needed. We took live shots from the governor every day. It very much felt like a state of emergency.
So what if we got hit with that much snow today? The director of Streets and Roads here in Lexington says they've learned a lot of lessons since 1994.
Governments really started to invest in people and equipment for anti-icing operations. This barn behind us is a result of the blizzard of '94.
He says 25 years ago, the city and state just weren't equipped for the amount of snowfall. Not so today.
With our equipment and planning right now, we could probably handle 2 events like that in one winter.
Covering the news in Lexington, Catherine Collins, LEX 18 News.
A well-known and friendly face in Versailles is down on his luck thanks to a scammer.
But the county judge executive is spearheading a campaign to help him. Watch how you can pay it forward next on LEX 18 News at 6.